I love the Word. So much fun to read. Okay, we've been talking about Solomon, and basically he had he made a really good choice on what he decided he wanted from the Lord, his wisdom, and the Lord said he was going to grant him wisdom and riches and power. And today's pretty cool. Talks about this lady. It's called the Queen of Sheba. Queen of Sheba comes to see King Solomon because she's like, basically in the end of the story, we hear that initially she didn't believe that he was really that awesome, right? So she comes to see, because everybody's been talking about how awesome he is. So Queen of Sheba comes to see King Solomon. Okay? She came to test him with hard questions, because she had heard about his fame. She arrived with a very great caravan. Imagine the movie Aladdin, where there's all the elephants and camels and hundreds of people. She came with lots and lots of people. She was carrying large quantities of spices and gold and precious stones. She came and she talked to him about all she had on her mind. Okay? So, imagine you got to go talk to Solomon. The Bible says that the guy, we talked last time about all the stuff that God gave Samuel understanding about. He understood plants, he understood animals, he understood people. He understood everything. He was smart about all of it. What would you, if you got an audience, which means you got to sit in front of Solomon, he gave you all his attention, and he was there just to answer your questions, what would you ask the smartest guy in the whole world ever? What would you ask him? I mean, it's kind of like Google now, but he really did have all the real answers. So, what would you ask him? Something you've always wanted to know the answer to. Grace, you come up with something. Daniel, you come up with something. Mom, if you're listening tonight, you come up with something. I tried to imagine maybe what some of the questions she might have asked about her dog. My dog does this really weird thing where he chases his tail. Does he not know that that's really his own tail? Does he really think that that's like something trying to chase him? Maybe she asked about her flowers. She's like, when I plant my roses, my yellow roses are always perfect, but my red roses, they always wilt right about mid-February or whatever. And he'd be, oh, that's because they don't have enough hydrogen, blah, 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 blah. If you have the poop from a deer mixed together with some bark mulch from a cedar, you stick it all together and you hold that in a fermentation thing for 12 days, and then you put some eggs in it, and then you put it in the dirt. Perfect. Take care of it. He just knew everything. All right? And I don't know. It's just fun. Let's think about some of the questions she might ask. Why do I love shoes so much? And my husband, he doesn't care at all about shoes. Explain. Or why is my 13-year-old daughter, getting zits? Explain. Why do we get zits when we're teenagers? Or You know, why does my husband love to watch football? It wouldn't be football. It'd be like, why does he like chariot racing or whatever was popular back then? He could sit there and he could watch it all day long. Then I had TV. I guess he'd go to it. But I don't understand men. So, every question imaginable. Why do I get headaches? What would you ask King Solomon? So she asked him all the questions that were in her heart. And I know. Well, my question was, why does the food that Michelle makes taste so much better than any of the restaurant foods? Is it really the love? Can you actually taste the love? Is there something that happens from the heart that goes into the food that we don't see? Is there a chemical release that's in the air? Or who knows? Solomon probably knew. So, verse 3. Here goes. She came to Solomon. She talked to him about all that she had on her mind. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for the king to explain to her. When Queen Sheba saw all of his wisdom, when she saw the palace that he had built, when she saw the food on his table, the seating of the officers, the attendants, everybody was there in their fancy robes, the cupbearer, the burnt offerings. She saw the temple. She said to the king, "The report I heard in my own country about your achievements and your wisdom is true. But I did not believe these things." You know how people are given to exaggeration, and how somebody says something so awesome, and you get there and it's like, well, it's really not that awesome. It was the exact opposite when she came. She heard all the stuff, and she came, and this is what she said. "I didn't believe the things until I came. I saw them with my own eyes. Indeed, not even half of what was told me. Not even half was told me," meaning it's like double as cool as what I thought it was going to be. Double as awesome as what everybody said. "In wisdom and wealth, you far exceed the report I heard. How happy your men must be. How happy your officials who continue to stand before you and get to hear your wisdom." Just to sit before Solomon just made you happy. Get to hear how smart he was. You just all day long they were like, "Oh, that's why that happens. Who would have ever thought?" I mean, just think about being with the coolest teacher of all time. It was like school was finally fun. So, then she gave him a ton of money, 120 talents of gold, and tons of spices and precious stones. Never again were there so much spices brought. All right. And then later on, King Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba all she desired and asked for. So they gave each other lots and lots of presents. All right. And then, let's see. Oh, the word that they used was overwhelmed. She was overwhelmed with how awesome he was. Okay, so then Solomon, he made his, after he made his palace and he made the temple, then he decided he was going to make a throne. And his throne was like 6 steps high, had 12 lions on it, and the whole thing was gold. And in his house, every drinking vessel didn't have glass, it was all gold. All the silverware was gold. It just goes on and on about how everything, he was just so stinking filthy rich. Greater in riches and wisdom than he was greater in wisdom and riches than any of the other kings in the whole world. And the whole world sought an audience with Solomon. everyone wanted to hear him because he was just so smart. It was so much fun to be around. Alright. You guys have a good night. Love you. Tomorrow's going to be depressing. Tomorrow we're going to talk about King Solomon. However, he had a problem. We're going to talk about King Solomon's problem. What is it? Numma numma. Is that what it is, Grace? Numma numma? Something like that. Bye. Let's try unga munga. Unga munga. Unga munga. I think that's it. Unga munga.